All right. Welcome to the Indie Corner After Dark. We're not only talking about all things independent comics, but everything comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back again with another episode of the Indie Corner After Dark, episode number 41. And of course, we had another review because, again, it's been getting mad busy with a lot of movies and stuff coming out.
Busy month in general.
July's a hella busy month this year, bro. It's crazy. So much stuff coming out. Can't keep up. But we're trying. But obviously, because we did Superman, a few weeks ago. If you haven't checked out our Superman review, please do so. It was a lot of fun. Great conversation. But obviously, we got to talk about the second biggest comic book film of the year so far. So yeah, people, if I haven't checked the thumbnail, which again gets a revision check because they know that's a concern if you can't see the thumbnail. But we're obviously going to be talking about the next. Tim, is this the start of Phase 6 with this movie?
Yeah.
So strange.
The first isn't really a phase. Phase 6 is just like this Spider-Man and then like Doomsday and Secret War.
Yeah. Okay.
And Wonder Man. Don't forget
Wonder Man. But people, we're gonna be talking about the Fantastic Four first steps. The most anticipated movie because this is again the debut of Marvel's first family in the MCU with Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn and Cousin. I only refer to him as Cousin. It's just I know he has a name, but he will forever be Cousin to me.
I thought you'd like his name because he's named after like one of your favorite characters.
He is named after one of my favorite villains, that's for sure. But like Cousin, like he's just Cousin. Know what I mean?
Cousin is a better name, but yeah. I agree. He is Cousin.
Yeah. But yeah, people. Yeah, so listen. Yeah, we're excited. Hope you're excited, Seamus. Thanks again for joining me on this. As always, bro. Appreciate you.
Can't stop talking.
I know. Yeah, we can't stop talking about comic books on the internet. It's crazy. But yeah, and also Ro may be coming and joining us. So yeah, he may come through in a bit. But yeah, people, as always. But first things first. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Leave a like. Come on now. Like we need subscribers. We need the Legion to grow.
Boost I don't know why the hell this shit not working. We need the ego boost.
We need the ego boost. So please people subscribe, leave a like on the video, share the video, all that stuff. Again, this is the one thing StreamYard gives me for free, so I will continue to milk it as much as I can. All right. Without further ado, Seamus, let's get right into it, bro. So listen, as per usual, this is gonna be non-spoiler, then spoilers. So Seamus, what were your non-spoiler thoughts on the Fantastic Four first steps? What did you think?
I think that it's an odd movie. Because I think generally I liked it, but there are parts of it that feel missing or just feel a little rushed. And I think that that's like its biggest weakness is that it feels like a movie that Feige was like, here, fucking like stop asking me about it, rather than like an actual important portion of the Marvel universe that they would like to explore. Because there's obviously 30 minutes or even more cut from this movie, and I feel like cutting that hurts this movie so bad because the four leads are great, and I just wanted to see more of the four being together and just like interacting with each other or what's going on. And I feel like we don't get to do much of that because Galactus is such an impending threat that they have to deal with now. And, they get some interactions, but I would have preferred if there was like a section of the movie where it was just the four kind of like vibing a little bit, But I think overall it's a solid movie. I think it's a very fun time, but it's not like, it doesn't really feel fully fleshed out as a movie.
Okay. All right. I mean, I do agree with you where it's like, again, well, first off, I think this movie is a big improvement on Fan Force, which is a very low bar. So let's get out of the way.
Yeah, that's like being able to take a step across the floor. That's not exactly jumping too high.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I thought this movie was quite good. I had a really good time with it. One thing that I did have a really big complaint with is because after seeing all of the trailers and seeing some of the because one of the big things that I've complained about with the MCU, especially with the past few phases, was that like it doesn't feel like there's an actual like directing like style, like all the movies from like a filmmaking standpoint seem very cookie cutter and feel like okay, like Kevin Feige wants each Marvel movie to look and feel a certain way, and so therefore every movie has to correspond with that like kind of like model or like that kind of like template. So when I saw Matt Shakman was brought onto this movie, we've seen some of the footage from the trailers. There was some really cool and creative shots. I felt like the movie had an actual like style. I was into it. But when I watched the movie, I felt like the first half of the film, like at least like the first act, went by so fast and they try to like pile so much stuff, try to introduce so much stuff into you to the point where like it felt like there weren't moments to breathe. However, at the back of your mind after watching the trailers, you're like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff missing. Like I feel like a lot of stuff got cut out like from this movie.
I was gonna say, it feels like there's a whole second act missing from this movie, and that the first half is Act 1, and then the second half is Act 3, and it feels like we're missing the entire middle section of the movie where like most of the character stuff is supposed to happen, because you get that first act kind of like very Superman-esque intro of them kind of just telling you a bunch of stuff that's happened to the Four since they became the Fantastic Four 4 years ago. And you're like, wow, this is cool and interesting. And they start, setting up Galactus and going quickly. But then after that, the whole second act is kind of like where like all the character stuff would happen is kind of like replaced by that them infiltrating Galactus's ship sequence. And like that's their whole second act, but it doesn't really work because you're like, okay, like what was the point of that if it wasn't going to like really give me any character? And I feel like that sequence should have been at the end of the second act.
Yeah.
And there should have been like an entire section of like exploring more of Ben's character and where he's at specific. Is he actually comfortable with his appearance in this universe, or is he still like fucked with it? Because you only saw him kind of like look sad like once or twice, and you were like, that's not really enough. You're not really giving me much there for Ben to actually do it. The scenes he was in was good, and Cousin did a great job as him. And I was like, holy shit, this feels very Kirby, but it just didn't feel like he had much to do. And then the other three had shit to do, and it was interesting, but I also would have liked if they were just like had sections or scenes where they were just talking as a family or just hanging out a little bit. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I appreciated them trying to do, Sue and Ben and Reed and Johnny, because I think those relationships are some of my favorites with the Four.
Yeah.
Because you have the main two of Reed and Sue and Ben and Johnny, but like when you pair them off the other way, it's always fun because, Reed and Johnny are both like insanely curious, and they will enable each other to. And I was like, oh, I didn't really get that here, and that kind of made me sad. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of the decisions with character interactions and how often we see the characters interact, I think really made this movie go from like what would have been an incredible movie to something that's just like good.
Yeah, I mean. And that's the thing with me. It's just like I felt like like the first act, like I feel like they wanted to set up so much, like at least have the more breathable exposition. Like there was a shot where in the trailer, I remember the first trailer which we reacted to, so people check that out if you haven't seen us react to it. Where they had like an expose done on them, where you see Reed and Sue walk in, and then like they're being interviewed. Like I wish we got some more of that. There's that shot where it's not really a spoiler, but when Johnny chased after, because in the trailer, Johnny chased after the Silver Surfer, and there's a shot where like he gets off the board and he's like in the air, and it's like that slow shot. Like I thought there's a lot of stuff that like I saw from the trailers that like I wish was in the movie that could have really, which I would assume was meant to be more expository. So we have more of breathable moments and like more of a fleshed out first act. Because again, they've been Fantastic Four for 4 years. I wish they kind of showcased more of like more of an exposition of like here like establishing them in this universe rather than just cutting to quick moments to do that exposition for you instead. So
I was gonna say, I think that would have been fine if Kevin Feige didn't mandate this movie to be 2 hours and then force them to cut the entire second act. You know what I mean? Because if I would have been fine with that rapid like throwing you into the movie, because I was fine with it with Superman, because Superman threw you in and then almost instantly gave you that scene with Lois and Superman doing the interview, and that scene was the scene that told me where these characters were at. It gave me a fun, snappy dialogue scene that showed you where Lois was at, who she was, where Superman at, who he is. And I feel like we didn't really get that with this movie, and I think that's what hurts it the most, is that there is not just a scene where it's just the four actually just talking about, what's been going on in their life. You just get told what's going on through that opening montage, which was like cool. The references were cool, but I was like, okay, I wish these characters would like just interact with each other as a whole instead of that, because all they really get is the action scenes where they're kind of yelling at each other, and then like that one dinner scene where they're like, that one dinner scene where she reveals she's pregnant from the trailers, and then that scene at like near the end that you've seen in the trailers where she's like giving a speech to the world about being a family, and that's really it.
And the thing is, like, I agree with you. Like that little quick montage I thought was fine, but I felt you could feel that something was missing. Like, they wanted to do more with that exposition in the beginning, but like it felt
they cut John Malkovich, like
which I thought was
they
wild.
wanted to do more with that stuff because they had actors cast for those roles. So
But on a positive note, I think that I love the cast. The cast is the best part of the movie for me. I think Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal's chemistry in this movie is really good. Love Johnny and Ben's sibling like rivalry and their like brotherly chemistry together. I love it a lot.
That was cool. I wish Ben had something to do in this movie.
Yeah,
everyone else feels like they get something, and Ben is the only one who doesn't really feel like he gets anything. And I'm like, okay, I don't know.
And yeah, I agree. We'll talk more about Ben because I have some issues with that, and we'll elaborate on that a little bit later. But I love the retro futuristic aesthetic. I mean, I've been saying that ever since we've been talking about Fantastic Four for a while. Love the aesthetic. I love the way this universe is set up and established. I think it's really cool. I love how even in that intro we got a sense of it makes sense why like the Fantastic Four are like the number one celebrities in this universe. That makes sense. Like it felt very believable. Love them. The family, like you can really feel the family dynamic in this movie a lot, which I feel like the other Fantastic Four films, I guess with the exception of like the first one, like back in 2003, the Tim Story version, like you could like we haven't seen that in a while. So I love how they brought that, how they really honed in on this team is a family first, which I loved. Again, there's a lot of like there's a lot of stuff I enjoyed with this movie. And it felt very Jetsons in the first half, and it felt very like Lost in Space, like in the second act, especially. Like I loved like that kind of like genre blend that they did. And then obviously like Galactus, and Silver Surfer coming in here. Seeing Galactus, we'll talk more about him a little bit later, but like I thought Galactus was perfect. That's that like look wise was perfect.
Well, I was gonna say Galactus and Silver Surfer were pretty perfect. Like,
they were spot on. They were spot on. It's just like a big portion of the movie there's a lot of movie I did like. It's just my only gripe was the first act feeling so quick and feel like I didn't really have time to to like breathe and give that that slow exposition. It was here's this happens, and then okay, we just have to accept it. And also we'll talk about the mid credit scene, but like the mid credit scene, I was like, oh god, okay. Like I love the movie until we got a humble reminder. Oh wait, yeah, this is an MCU film. We'll get to we'll get to spoilers in a second. But before we go into spoilers, one of the biggest things that I loved, and I talked to shout out to Maddie. I talked to her about this. I talked to a friend of mine as well about this as well, especially the person I watched the movie with. I loved how this movie was pretty much in its entirety was a love letter to Jack Kirby. Like I love how, because again, like, you know, like, even though we all love Stan Lee, like obviously Stan, you know, rest in peace to Stan. Obviously he's a legend, made huge contribution to waves and comics. But I feel like, you know, like Jack Kirby doesn't really get his time to shine that often, especially like in his career in comics. Especially when we had that falling out with Stan, because Stan always felt like, you know, Stan was the front man. Like that's how Stan was, you know, portrayed in his career in comics and his career, you know, branching into television, film. But Jack Kirby was kind of, not a lot of people really know who Jack Kirby is and his contributions, because Jack Kirby, in my opinion, I feel like you can agree too, Seamus, is just as important, if not more important, than Stan. He was the blueprint for the look of the superhero wave in comics. Like, you know, he was the blueprint for a lot of the Marvel characters we know and love today. You know, so I love how, like, every time Stan Lee showed up in a Marvel movie, we were reminded, oh yeah, this is Stan Lee's baby. But like, this film to me felt like, no, this is a Jack Kirby film. From the aesthetic, from the time period that they were basing a lot of the aesthetic off of, the retrofuturism, the look of the characters, especially with Galactus, you know, and especially like a lot of the homages and cameos that they showcase throughout the course of the movie. And this felt like, no, this is Stan Lee had his due. This is Jack Kirby's time to shine, and I fucking loved it. You know, I don't know what your thoughts on this, Seamus.
Oh, dude, like that the Kirby tribute at the end of the credits, I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
God fucking damn, man. That it really is a very, it's a nice thing to see Jack getting his fucking due in finally, at least in a more public sense, because I think a lot of comic fans like us kind of we already know what's up with Jack. We already appreciate Jack like crazy, because we know that he never really got his due when he was, you know, still in the industry. And I think that you know, I think that it's very nice to see him getting his due outside of that as well, in at least a very, you know, public and mainstream way, with like the tribute and with the vibes. And like you said with Galactus, when I saw the like Galactus in the theater, I was like, that looks so New Godsy. You know what I mean? Like that looks like hella Jack Kirby cosmic shit. Yeah. Which I think that was just like, that's how I knew it was a great design. But yeah, they really did pull from Jack's influence, like, primarily, which I think is it's a major strength for the movie, because like you said, the set design, costume design, even the score all feels very much like a Jack Kirby comic book over a Stan Lee production. You know, yeah, I loved it. It's one of the strengths for the movie for me.
I'm very curious because Roz, Jack's wife, is still alive, and obviously Jack has kids, and you know they've grown up to have their own families and all that stuff. So I'm very curious to see if, like, you know, Roz has seen the film and like what her thoughts on it are, or if the family has seen the film. Because like I feel like, because Jack isn't here to watch this. He died in the 90s, so like, you know, I really wanted to get, you know, their perspective on what this film is, on their thoughts on the film, and if, like, you know, if Jack, you know, what Jack maybe would have thought of it if hypothetically if he was still here with us, you know. So yeah. But yeah, I just want to make that note. But obviously, you know, and it's a weird side tangent, because like it's nice to, like, you know, have creators who have made huge impacts in the industry, but not as much as recognition, finally get their dues in. Like I was comparing this to Bill Finger, you know, because, you know, like the kind of recognition, because I told my coworker about, you know, the story of Bill Finger, because he didn't know about it, and I rewatched the Batman and Bill documentary, and it was just like, yeah, like, you know, the amount of lengths it took for I'm forgetting the guy who wrote the book on Bill Finger and did that research, for the amount of lengths it took for Bill to get his recognition, you know, post-mortem, and have his family get that recognition, his heirs get that recognition as well. You know, it's really important that, like, you know, those creators that don't get their respect or don't get their due in, you know, eventually like have their moments to shine at the end of the day, because, you know, they matter, and it kind of showcases the wrongs of the comic book industry in a way, you know. So I really so this is my favorite part about the movie for me, was just this homage to Jackson. Before we move on, is, you know, rest in peace, you know, to the GOAT, the king, you know, Jack Kirby. You know, your contributions are timeless. You know, he's the blueprint. So just want to pay my respects to him, of course. All right, bro. So you want to get into spoilers? Are we safe? You want to get into spoilers? Do you have any more thoughts before we move on? All right, people. So if you haven't seen the film, you know, obviously this is your warning. You know, go to ticket and buy your ticket. Go get your popcorn. Go get your, you know, Galactus popcorn bucket. Watch the film, and then obviously come back and so because, you know, we're not gonna hold back. We're gonna talk spoilers with this movie. All right, so we're gonna go on the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we are in spoiler territory. So yeah, off rip. I mean, most of the things we're probably gonna, again, like, I got rid of the, like, you know, what we like, what we didn't like section, because we're probably gonna go into that with characters. So yeah, we'll just go into the character breakdown here. So obviously the first character we're gonna be talking about here is obviously, you know, one of the leader of the four, Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, played by Pedro Pascal. Again, so here's the thing with me, like, I mean, we've talked about this before, when we, you know, in previous After Darks and our, you know, our reactions and stuff like that. When he was cast, again, love Pedro, great actor, you know, that's obviously, you know, a no-brainer there. But I again was worried because this casting did feel like they didn't have everyone else who they wanted to have play Mr. Fantastic said no, and okay, but we need someone recognizable, so they casted Pedro. So I was a little worried that you know he wasn't. I couldn't see Mr. Fantastic in him in this. And watching this, I can happily say that I thought he did a pretty good job. Most importantly, because with me, when, like, in terms of Mr. Fantastic, you know, obviously we've seen different versions of, like, how Mr. Fantastic's genius is interpreted. But for me, it's like, when I think of Mr. Fantastic, I think of, you know, a man who can't help, who is in his nature, and can't help himself from always thinking too big all the time. Again, he has massive amounts of hubris and, like, you know, aspects of grandeur with, you know, his genius. But obviously he has his family and Sue to, like, bring him back to earth, to remind him, like, why he does what he does. And I thought he did a really good job, because I love the fact that, like, they acknowledge that like, he can't help himself from thinking big all the time, which, again, the aspect of thinking big always means thinking of the worst case scenarios all the time and thinking of solutions to combat those worst case scenarios. So I love the fact that, yeah, that's exactly what Reed does throughout the course of this movie. And you know, but it was a reminder that, like, obviously, like, him and his family are what brings him back to earth all the time. Without them, we get the Maker, and, you know, so I really love it. Yeah, we're Maker fans up in here. So I love the fact that, like, you know, they really incorporated that, as well as, you know, making it fun, because, again, I love the fact they do, like, a Bill Nye the Science Guy situation with him in the film, and yeah, man, that's what I'm gonna say. So, Seamus, what do you think of Mr. Fantastic in this movie?
I thought Pedro Pascal really did, like, a way better job than even I thought he was gonna do. I wish fucking, again, Kevin Feige needed to shut the fuck up on the set of this movie, because I wish he let Pedro Pascal do that full transatlantic accent he was gonna do for Reed. I'm like, that's so Reed to talk like he's, like, in a fucking, like, 50s cartoon. Like, yeah, you know. So I don't know. I wish he still had that. It's more of a Kevin Feige criticism than a fucking anyone who is involved in the making of this movie otherwise criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pedro was great. They really nailed Reed's character in this. I'm very glad I finally have a good Reed adaptation I can point to and be like, no, that's who he is. Fucking don't look at the Tim Story version. Don't look at Fan Four Stick. Stop trying to act like they're the versions. They're fucked up versions. Okay, this is actually who Reed is. This is why I fuck with Reed. Okay, stop trying to show me those other ones, because those other ones did not do him justice as this movie did. But yeah, I like how I like how that his anxiety was portrayed very well, because I feel like a lot of movies portray anxiety as just giving someone a panic attack and being like, oh, and I'm like, that's kind of insulting. Like, you're not dealing with the other like 90% of the time where it's literally just you just like locked in overthinking like the worst thoughts possible. But like Reed being portrayed as someone who, you know, like people with anxiety, like, you know, are just constantly unable to not think the worst possible outcome at all times, you know? So I thought that was very, very cool. His powers looked very cool. He didn't use them that much, but I came away from it going like, I didn't really need him to use it that much, because I really did like how they put more of a focus on his intelligence. Because I'm like, yeah, we've all seen the stretchy stuff in the other movies, but like, let's see him lock in and actually solve problems in this one.
Yeah, right. And I feel like I've been seeing memes lately of like people seeing that one scene where Galactus stretches him and he's in pain and he's like, you know, and all that, and then people compare it to like that scene in Fantastic Four, Rise of Silver Surfer, where like Mr. Fantastic like stretches like crazy to like stop a Ferris wheel from the eye falling, like that scene. So I'm like, I was fine with it, because my coworker Cody was like, I don't like the fact that Galactus like he stretched him so far that like he was in pain, but I'm like, that's his thing. But I'm like, that's just a reminder that, like, you know, their powers have limits. Like Sue fucking died.
I was gonna say, I think I'm more on the side of I didn't like it purely because I think it's less fantastical when Mr. Fantastic's powers are based off his own body mass and not the magical property of his cell stretching. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When his stretching powers are like, no, his body's stretching, but he can't go that far because it's based off his body mass. You know what I mean? It's like kind of. It's like it's a comic book movie where they're fighting a dude from outer space who's gonna eat the planet unless they give them their fucking kid who can control reality. Like, yeah, I don't really need a scientific explanation for like his fucking stretchy powers. I just want to see him stretch really far because that's what he does, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's the same. It feels like the same, like the age-old Grant Morrison quote about people asking who changes the tires on the Batmobile, you know. Where it's like, well, why do you care? Why do you care if Reed's powers are grounded in science when, like, the whole point is that he is a man grounded in science with powers that are, like, so fantastical that he doesn't even really understand them fully when they first get them, you know? But, yeah, I like, not even, just more of a personal preference thing. Not a knock on Pedro Pascal or even Matt Shakman or any of the writers, because I think everyone actually did their best job with Reed, so...
Mm-hmm. What did you think of that scene? Because my favorite part, again, showcasing like, you know, Reed's mind and also that anxiety was like when he was trying his best not to mention this to that, like, we're gonna have to use our own kid as bait in order to get Galactus, in order to stop Galactus. And she was like, no, like, she called him out and she checked him. She's like, I know how your mind works. Say what you're gonna say. Like, don't be shy. I love that scene a lot. It was like, Reed is the type of guy who's like, who thinks of every possibility, like, so, like, you know, even sacrificing his own kid, you know,
he'd never do it, but he has to fully think through it, so that way he knows that options on the table and he knows what's at stake. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He knows, like, okay, if I can't do this, then that's what's going to happen. Totally. And you're like, yep, I've been there before, man.
So yeah, I mean. Yeah, I'm looking and like love Pedro Pascal in this. I thought, again, his read is great. Like his his read reminds me of like the Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes cartoon, which is like one of my favorite like Marvel cartoons. Like that version of Reed. So I was happy to see, like, you know, they did him right. I was like, okay, this is great. I mean, anyways, else you want to say on Reed? I got really nothing. I'm good.
He was good. He was very fun. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those this is just real quick, one of those character performances where the writing, the actor, and the directing all come together to make a character that I'm like, yes, I would like to see him in other stuff too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like we haven't really gotten to recently beyond apart from Thunderbolts. I think before that we haven't really gotten many new characters that I've been like, I really want to see you in more stuff.
I mean, yeah, I felt that way with like a majority, like all the characters in this movie. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I wanted to see all of them back again, and we will. So I mean, but yeah, bro. All right, so we'll move on to Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman, played by Vanessa Kirby. Again, also great. Like, again, I love her chemistry with Reed a lot. Love how in this world, like she, again, like a lot of the most of the four like have their own roles. Like Reed obviously is a scientist. I love how in this one Sue is the humanitarian. That was her like getting into politics. Being a part of like like at least a version of like the United Nations and starting up like the future.
They Wonder Woman too. I can't believe it.
Yeah, pretty much. Right? That's pretty much what they did. And yeah, she's being a humanitarian and all that. I thought that was a great way to take her character. I love how like again she she like Sue is, and I mean that's pretty much I feel this way, but like Sue is the heart of the film. She is the glue that keeps the family together. So I really did like that a lot with her character. And I also love a reminder of how like, because I feel like Sue in like especially in the comics, and also how like fans like comic book fans perceive Sue. I feel like Sue's very underestimated because like, it's all about they reminded us that like she's kind of the powerhouse of this entire team. She's like one of the strongest characters. She's probably the strongest character on the team, if not one of the strongest characters like in the MCU, I would say so far. With her abilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that a lot. I also love the way they look. I love the light spectrum shit that they do with her abilities. I think it's awesome.
It was definitely the coolest visualization of Sue's powers I've ever seen. Which I was like, that's sick as fuck, man. That's a cool idea. I just wish we fucking got more of it.
Yeah.
I just wish this movie was longer and not just 2 hours in and out.
2 hours straight up. She
was good. I like the humanitarian aspect. I do wish we got a little more of Science Sue, because I always love that when she locks in and she's like, I am like, I'm not Reed smart, but I'm still fucking smart, I liked. I did really like Vanessa Kirby's performance. I just feel like sometimes the script kind of it really like that Stanley speech outside, where she's holding Franklin and she's talking to the world. I was like, I feel like that speech could have maybe like used another pass, or like maybe it just felt a little awkward the way it was done, and it felt very quick and very like, it was like the first draft of that speech and they just decided to go with it. But and I feel like she gets a couple of those moments where I'm like, I don't know if the script's really helping her here, but Vanessa Kirby's good enough an actress that she could make it work, and I think she does. But definitely, I really liked her. She was probably my third favorite, I think.
Okay. Yeah, and also seeing her seeing her be a mom. Like again, this is the first time we've ever seen a live action version of the Fantastic Four where they're being parents. So I really liked her and Reed is like balancing like the new challenge of being parents. And also just to rewind when it comes to Reed, love how Reed was paranoid, where it's like, I don't want our child to be like us. I wanted like that anxiety of like, I want our child to be normal, in the fact that like, and he was constantly checking for any sign of like not just powers but like deformities or disabilities, because we couldn't have kids for 2 years. We've been trying for 2 years. Now that we have, like, what are the chances it'll come out like normal? Because if you haven't checked, we're like cosmically irradiated. So
or X
true, or X genes.
I'm so pissed I will talk about that later. I am kind of pissed they changed it.
But I digress. But so I thought that was really interesting. Just both of those characters like trying to be parents, I thought was really dope. But yeah, man. Anything else you want to say on Sue? I mean, I like Sue. Sue is great.
Yeah,
again,
it's very solid.
I want to see her again. Like I want to see this character again. So, so yeah. All right. So I guess we'll move on to the next character, our hothead, our pretty boy, Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, played by Joseph Quinn. Again, this casting was like, when this casting was announced, like I was a little bit like, I don't know, because all I could see was Eddie Munson from Stranger Things when he was cast as Johnny Storm. But then I saw that first trailer and I was like, no, he got it. I can see it, and he did not disappoint. Johnny was great. I liked Johnny's arc. I think I liked his arc the most out of them all. Like, because Johnny in this movie, which I feel like isn't really touched on in the comics from what I've read or from what I've watched. Like, but like I love how like they really played on Johnny's like inadequacies, insecurities, his inadequacies. Feeling that like he doesn't really have any value to the team because obviously Reed's the genius, Sue's a humanitarian, Ben is like, the pilot, has a role. Even Herbie, yeah, crazy. Even Herbie does stuff as a robot. And but like,
Herbie basically raises Franklin for half of this movie.
Yeah, and like he doesn't feel like he has a place. Like he wants to contribute, but no one feels like no one takes him seriously. And I love the fact that like with time he does find something that he's good at. Translating the stuff with Shalabal, Silver Surfer, and all that, and being kind of like the key, the linchpin of like, hey, like figuring out like a way to like communicate with her and go and that leads to the defeat of Galactus. But I really did like the fact that like Johnny, he played on that aspect of Johnny, which I haven't really seen in as explored as much in previous adaptations.
But also, I was gonna say like they really did play on one of my favorite aspects of Johnny that never gets touched on, is that he fucking loves puzzle solving and problem solving. Mm-hmm. And like that's what I always like when they pair him with Reed, and he's always just like so locked into like solving whatever problems Reed is working on, because he's always like because he'll act like he'll be like, what are you working on, man? And then Reed will start explaining it and be like, how do you solve that? And then Reed will start explaining it, and then Johnny will keep going like, interesting, have you thought of this? And then they both just get locked into being like, how do we solve this fucking thing? And like it's especially they have a great issue like that in Ryan North's Fantastic Four run, where it leads them down like a fucking crazy rabbit hole. But I'm so glad that was touched on in this movie with Johnny, and I'm so glad that Johnny is the way he is, because they kind of let his like normal hotness of like I love women and fucking what I mean, they let that take a backseat, because they're like, well, everyone already knows that. Everyone already knows that's who he is. So like, let's actually explore an aspect of his character that you don't really get to see as often as the one that everyone knows. So
exactly.
Joseph Quinn did a great job, but I think he's my least favorite actor of the four, and it's not his fault or anything. He does a great job. He doesn't do anything bad, but it's just like whenever I see him, I'm not seeing Johnny. I'm still seeing like Joseph Quinn doing his best Johnny, which is still really good, but I don't really like get it. You know what I mean? Like Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Cousin, when they were doing stuff, I was like, holy shit, like that's them. That's the Fantastic Four. But when it was Johnny, I would always be like, damn, Joseph Quinn's doing a good job. Not like, shit. I'm actually like, I don't even see Joseph Quinn anymore, And it's like, I know it's very like nitpicky, but like, it's just a little thing that I was like,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I get that too. Like, because like all like even myself when I was watching, I was like I could sometimes the hits were like, oh yeah, I could see him as Johnny. Like he's a good Johnny, but then like one was like, oh wait, this is Joseph Quinn. He's trying to be Johnny. But I digress. But I also really did like how they also did acknowledge like because like what you said, like he actually does have his own intelligence and like is smart in other areas, especially like problem solving and puzzle solving, like you said. But also how like selfless Johnny is at times. Like even though he can be very arrogant and hot-headed, like he will sacrifice himself to save his family if he wants to. Like when he decides to sacrifice himself to save to push Galactus into the portal, but obviously gets stopped by Silver Surfer. But it took me back to, I don't know if this was you would be able to tell me more because you read more Fantastic Four than I do. But when was it? I don't know if it was Hickman's run. When they were leaving the negative zone, being like swarmed by like Annihilus' forces, and Johnny sacrificed himself.
Yeah,
that was Hickman. because I love that. That's like my favorite Johnny moment of all time, where like he literally sacrificed himself to save his family from like analysis forces, closes the door behind him, and like just goes all out with his powers, goes supernova, and like dies in the process. Like that reminded me of that. I was like, okay, like yeah, Johnny is the type where it's like, yeah, even though he does seem like he's arrogant and self-centered, but he will sacrifice himself to save the people that he loves, and I love that a lot. So I was happy to acknowledge that in this movie with his character.
Yeah, that issue, that's a great Johnny moment. It's just so funny how, side tangent for Hickman's Fantastic Four, but it's very funny how they follow that up with another like greatest issue of all time with that like textless issue where all the Fantastic Four are dealing with their grief of losing Johnny, and you get that scene where like the Thing's fighting like Thor and Hulk, and he just starts crying and shit.
Yeah.
And Annihilus shows up out of the negative zone portal and shows Reed Johnny's fucking like suit and starts laughing. And that's always funny to me when you find out later that Johnny was still alive and actually won the negative zone presidency election from Annihilus, and Annihilus was no longer leader. And you're like, so Annihilus was just doing that just because he was mad he lost an election?
Yeah, he was being very...
You know what? If they ever do Annihilus in the MCU, that's the type of Annihilus I need. Like, crazy fucking, like, animalistic dude who also will get mad if he loses an election in Johnny Storm. And I'm like, that's... And I feel like that kind of, like, that kind of very silly humor was very present in this movie, which I enjoyed. That kind of absurd sci-fi, like, you know, like with Mole Man and everything in this movie. I was like, that's like the absurd kind of sci-fi joke that I think the Fantastic Four are almost built off of sometimes, which I was very glad to see in this movie. So Johnny was like the epitome of that with all his jokes and stuff like that he was doing.
And again, I loved his chemistry with Ben. Like, I loved his sibling chemistry that he had with Ben a lot. Especially when they're on the ship and they do a fist bump and Johnny's like, whoa! It was like, they're just fucking brothers, bro. I loved it so much. They're the annoying uncles. I thought it was great. And one thing I will say, his powers, like again, this was like the way he looks when he flames on, like that's when I was like, no, this is Jack Kirby, because again, it was mostly that solid red. You know, with the flames coming out, I was like, this is and it makes sense why. I mean, all the suits have this, but those striations with the suit is akin to like when Jack Kirby would do like cover Johnny with like with hatching and lines, like when he flames on.
Yeah.
Like it's perfect, bro. All right, here's Ro. What's going on,
what's
bro?
up, y'all?
Nothing much, bro.
I never join these things when my phone is charged.
It's fine, bro. As long as you're here, that's all that matters. Yo, real quick, because I know you're coming in late. Do you want to give like a little recap, like because we're doing character breakdown right now. We'll back away from this real quick.
Gotcha.
What are your thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts on Mr. Fantastic, Sue, and then Johnny, right quick?
So, Mr. Fantastic. Now, I had hesitance going into this with Pedro Pascal just because he's everywhere, and not that I thought he was going to do a bad job, but I was just kind of getting tired of him. But he proved me wrong. He ended up being like my favorite character, honestly. Like, okay. Yeah, I liked his like the Atlantic accent that he was using that you would find often in older movies, and I really liked I gotta say, like, out of Thing and Johnny, like their relationship was really cool. I feel like the Thing was one of those characters where we've had like those other iterations, and I feel like they were kind of like letting those character traits carry this one. I still liked how he like interacted with the rest of the crew, but I can tell we needed more time with him and his like backstory, because like there's that part where they're at the church and stuff where he meets with the teacher lady, and I'm just like, I would have loved to see more of that. Like, I would love to see more of him being more human. Like, I really loved his human aspects in this. Mm-hmm. And I guess I could say that for everybody. Like, they really humanize these characters to the point where I'm like, the least interesting part is your abilities. So I think they knocked that out of the park, for real.
That's great. What about Sue? Your thoughts on Sue or Johnny at all?
Yeah. So Sue, man, she like, people were really saying it well. She carried this movie. I think my favorite part is when they're on. She's like, giving birth on the ship, and she said, "Johnny, kill her." I was like, yes, go after it. Yo, that was just too good. and Johnny being about to smoke too, that really had me locked in. I gotta say, out of all of the characters there, Thing was the most, like the heart for the movie for me, but it's really hard to pick one favorite character because they all complemented each other.
They all complement each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, you missed it, but I was saying that I thought Sue felt like the glue in the heart of the family in general.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you miss me and Seamus like praise Pedro for like actually giving us a great Reed Richards for once.
Yeah. Yep.
And we're gonna talk about Thing in a second, but and then Johnny was we thought Johnny was good, even though Joseph Quinn, like we still can't see it because it's just Joseph Quinn, it's not his fault. It's just we just can't see it sometimes. Like there are moments where it's like, oh no, he's Johnny Storm, but then we realize, oh wait, it's just Joseph Quinn being Johnny Storm. But he's still, right. I thought his performance and his arc, like especially with his arc with his insecurities, I thought was great. That was my favorite arc.
Showing off his intellect too, like deciphering the language was like a nice side story for him.
Yeah, it was a nice reminder.
They could have brought back Michael B. Jordan.
Anyway, like for me, it was his relationship with Silver Surfer, where I was just kind of like, I wish they could have had her in there without like some sort of like romantic interest. It felt like just kind of like a way to make it, like you got to have your certain requirements for your movies. You got to have like an alien subplot and all this other stuff. So I get it. If they're gonna make her a woman, I guess make Johnny hit on her, whatever. But
yeah,
at least they made Johnny smart. So I guess I can get with it.
Yeah. So anything else I want to mention before we move on to Ben, right quick, or no?
No.
Nah, not at all. All right. So next character, Ben Grimm, aka the Thing, played by Ebon Moss-Bachrach, aka Cousin. I only refer to him as Cousin because I love the bear so much. So. Listen, man. I mean, we've said it here and there, like a little here and there of our thoughts of Ben throughout the course of the podcast so far. But I as performance wise, I thought Cousin killed it. I thought he did a great job. I could really, even though just seeing him as a big rock monster, I could really see Ben's humanity in there. I loved it. So I love that aspect. I really liked. Again, the only issue is we needed more of him. Again, like Ree had an arc. Sue and Johnny had arcs. Ben didn't really have an arc. Ben was kind of just there, just being Ben. And not like that is an issue because I love Ben Grimm, but like I wish he had an arc that like, stood out among the rest as well. They kind of teased that, like what Rose said, with Natasha Lyonne's character, because I did not know she was in this. Them kind of having a relationship.
Was she really in this movie though?
I mean,
was she really in this movie, or did she just have a cameo for 2 seconds?
Because again, Shane, because you're the Fantastic Four-head. Is she a character in the comics? Because I was.
No, but yeah, it's like one of those things where like, yes, a character who has been a social worker at Ben Grimm's
synagogue.
Local synagogue. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that is a character. It's not her character, but like, just because she has a different name, and acts the same and talks the same, like, yeah, kind of. But yeah, so I was hoping in all the leaks, I was hoping she was playing Alicia Masters.
Yeah,
we do get a Puppet Master name drop, and I'm like, motherfucker, like, what? Wait, come on, why didn't you just have her play Alicia?
Yeah, I know, right? Because that's the one thing that bothered me though. Because I was like, when they teased all the kind of like a little bit of like a chemistry between them, I was like, I can only accept Alicia Masters being with Ben because like that makes sense,
They should have brought back Kerry Washington.
Oh, dude, I would have loved that.
For real, yep.
because I love that relationship in the comics. That like because like that hurt why she would be with Ben because she doesn't care about looks. She can't. She's blind. So like I love that like she can see Ben for who he is, not what he looks like. I love that relationship a lot. So, but I digress. But I thought Cousin did a great job. Love his dynamic with Johnny. Again, love his dynamic with Johnny a lot. Love how they showcase that, like, even though he's a big rock monster, he's still a great pilot. I love that kind of, like, Lost in Space-esque part of the movie where like they're going after Galactus and they get stuck in that black hole. I loved how they showcased Ben's piloting skills a lot. Yeah, man. Also, yeah, he has a beard because Ben can grow a beard, man. With the Thing can grow a beard. People forget he can do that, and I love that he rocks it in this movie. But yeah, I just wish we got more time with him, and I hope that changes, like when future appearances. But yeah, what are your Seamus? What do you think of? You want to elaborate on Ben more, or what do you think?
It's tough to even elaborate on him because he just doesn't get that much to do. He's just kind of there. He pilots some shit at some point. He does some, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, I really wish that we got, like, I don't know, a cool section with him doing stuff or, like, having more of a character or, like, just literally, like, doing anything other than, like, sitting there and then occasionally talking to one of the other characters, and that was really it. I don't know. I might talk about it later, but I think that this movie should have been a little recut a little, or the plot should have been reorganized a little, so that way. I'll say it here. Fuck it, real quick. I said that this movie should have been divided up into 4 seasons, and I think the movie should have started with Galactus coming in winter, and then in winter they fight John Malkovich and his apes, and then each season they fight a different villain as it gets closer to the coming of Galactus, which Silver Surfer would say, he's coming from a year from now. And so then each season, you know what I mean, then you get like Mad Thinker in the summer, and then Mole Man in the fall, and then you know what I mean, or like Puppeteer in the spring, and then you get to see those villains, they fight those villains. But you also get then sections of like these characters are getting more and more freaked out. They're getting more and more like, oh shit, this thing's coming. What do we do? How do we solve it? What's going on? You know what I mean? And I feel like if you get more time like that to sit with them, then you get stronger characters, you get stronger arcs, and they become even more interesting because the writing and the acting make these characters interesting enough that I want to see them again. But I think to truly make this movie like actually great, you would need to give it the extra 30 minutes where you're like, all right, here's them doing stuff, and Ben is like the character that suffers the most from that. So yeah, I like him. I love Cousin. I love the way he's written, the way he looks cool. Very Kirby, but like
very Kirby, very Alex.
I got more of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean. And one thing I will say real quick, and I also love the way he looks. He looks like Alex Ross painted him. That's like I give like Alex Ross and Jack Kirby as like this, like that is what the Thing is supposed to look like. Also love that he doesn't. I also love that he's not like shirtless. That he actually feels comfortable wearing a shirt. I thought that was dope. Yeah. One thing I will say, I think Seamus, you mentioned it earlier, but I actually really liked that they didn't shove the fact that he hates the way he looks and that he wants to be normal again in our mouths. Because I felt like in the Tim Story movies, they really hammed it in Fan Four Stick a lot. But I kind of liked that it was more subtle in this, where it was he's comfortable with the way he is now, but there's that moment, especially we've seen in the trailer, where he looks at the TV at his old self, but deep down, it's like he still wishes he could look the way he used to look the way he wished he could be human again. I like it was a little more subtle in this.
I like that. I like that they went a more subtle route, but I think that like when you do the more subtle route, that means that part generally of his character development is done, and then you move on to the longer, more important part of his character development, which is with Alicia Masters, and it's him accepting that someone else can love him. Because he slowly learns to love and accept himself, and then Alicia is the character that he learns that other people, he's allowed to be loved by other people too, even though he looks the way that he does, and he doesn't like that still. People can still love that about him. You know what I mean? And I think that would have fucking rocked in this movie with the directing and the cast they got, but they just didn't have enough time to do it, or didn't want to do it, or whatever. And I think that is what hurts the most. You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, that would have gone really well, even if they just made fucking Natasha Lyonne Alicia Masters and just had a couple scenes with her, I would have been like sick. But
Yeah, it would have been great.
it is what it is. I just wanted more of the thing.
Ro, you have anything you want to say on Ben at all?
Yeah, it's really weird that the best looking character kind of gets the least just screen time, I would say. Like, I really enjoyed seeing the more like space cadet aspect where he's steering the ship and getting them out of the way of the black hole while Reed's delivering, a baby. And for his, he was like really tender. Like, I like that he cut the umbilical cord, and because in that first one he has like such a struggle with like, his ambidextrousness or whatever you want to call it, his dexterity. It's like what Seamus was saying. It's like if you're gonna put this character at a point where he's used to where he's at and he's adjusted, then we need a little bit more internal conflict. And I feel like we could have got that with Alicia Masters, or I think that's
for sure.
I think he looked really awesome, but could have used a little bit more like story. But he looked great and he acted great, so I'll give it. But that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, man. More of the story is I love him, and I want to see him get like an actual arc in future stuff.
Right, like give us more thing for sure. I'd take a presentation, like a little Marvel.
Oh yeah,
30. Yeah,
I would love that. That'd be dope.
I'd take nude thing. I'd take 30 minutes of nude thing. I'd take 30 minutes.
I'm solicited things from nude.
Just any fucking give me more of them. I don't care. Like, give me fucking anything.
I do think like a Marvel presentation, like a Marvel spotlight, just a thing would be great. I would love that. That's a good idea. Because
he always has his own one shots and stuff. It wouldn't be out of character.
Yeah, Marvel team up.
Marvel spotlight of thing, and they adapt that Ryan North issue where he wakes up on Aunt Petunia's farm where he's staying with all the Fantastic Four, and everyone else has disappeared, and the entire house is falling down like a giant shaft, and the thing is like floating with his dog, and he has to figure out what the fuck's going on. Because that's one of my favorite issues of Ryan North's Fantastic Four, because you get like the best parts of the thing is him instantly going like, okay, my family's not here. I have to either find where they are or kill whoever fucking took them from me. And then he uses his pilot skills because he's like, hold on, this looks like I'm falling, but am I falling or am I flying? And then he uses his pilot skills to build this gauge that has this like little ball, and he uses air resistance to test it, and he goes, okay, I'm falling, but how am I falling and where am I falling? And it's just him going through problem solving, and I'm like, that would be the coolest fucking thing if they did that, right?
Kevin Feige, like, we're writing this shit for you, bro. Come on now. But I think worst thing they could do with the thing is just do what the old Ultimate Universe did with the thing, and I hated what they did with the thing. You know what I'm talking about, Seamus? What they did with the thing in the old Ultimate Universe, where he was like, okay, so Ro, since you don't know, I don't know if you know this or not, but like, in the old Ultimate Universe, the thing's shell was cracking, so therefore we're like, holy shit, the thing's gonna die. But no, in actuality, his rock form was just an exoskeleton, and he was human on the other side, but he had like, he like glowed with like electrical energy and stuff, and like he could like regrow his shell. He can revert from his human form and his shell form at will. And it was the weirdest fucking thing. It was so weird, and it was just like, oh god. So that's the worst.
Like,
thing
I'm okay.
I think that idea is a cool idea if you make it a fake out. And you know what I mean? And you make it like the thing thinks that his powers are evolving, but it turns out it's just like a villain messing with him. And at the end of it, the thing's like, I like being human again, but man, I love being able to punch shit really hard too. You know what I mean? Like they give him like electric powers like that. They give him like they give him like some other power set that he's like, I guess I have to learn how to use this. But then after he reverts back, he's like, listen, man, no way I could use electricity. That sucks. I fucking love punching dudes.
I love being a rock monster. I love being a rock monster.
Like he's like I hate how I look, but like objectively, I'm able to fucking lift cars, man. That's it. Which I think they kind of hit on in this movie where he lifts the car for the kids and he's like, all right, I fucking like
I kind of like throwing shit around.
That was good.
Shout out to K-Shawn, the legend. He was saying he's like, I felt like that was ass. It's like, that's hella OD. Like, I hated that shit. It was awful. I didn't like that at all, that arc with the Thing in the Ultimate Comics. That pissed me off.
Fuck Mark Millar, man.
But yeah, anything you want to say real quick before we move on to the next character? This one's gonna be short
Mark
because
Millar.
like,
fuck yeah.
Okay, all right, Seamus. All right, so next character. This one's gonna be brief because he wasn't really in the movie that long. But Mole Man, played by Paul Walter Hauser. I was surprised that like Mole Man was in here because I thought they were gonna go like hella deep with Galactus being. He wasn't really a villain either. He was a reformed villain, the villain they fought in the past. That he was like comic accurate Mole Man, who's like an annoyance and kind of a dick, but never really a villain. Just always a guy that you're kind of are like pestered by, and you're like, all right, knock it off. Which I'm like, that's totally Mole Man. That's great. But Paul Walter Hauser, in that one scene he showed up in, incredible performance. Everyone instantly locked in, and they were like, oh shit, this guy's really fucking funny. And you can understand why he was nominated for an Oscar for Richard Jewell, but like, he's a great actor, and I was very glad to see him as Mole Man, because I'm like, when he was announced in that cast and everyone thought he was Herbie, I'm like, no, he's got to be Mole Man. Look at him. He's look at him with those glasses on and shit. I was like, yeah, that's him. He looks sick. I love how the only person that he was willing to talk to amongst the four was Sue. Like, that was it.
So real. And I'm glad that they kind of took that, normally, because I like the idea. I don't know, the way that Paul Walter Hauser played him to me, his character did not feel like the normal, like, I'm in love with Susan, but he felt more like he was a gay man who idolized Susan. Like the way they played him in that scene, he felt like a Susan Storm stan. And I was like, wait, that's actually like a way funnier and way cooler way to play Mole Man up than like the normal, like, I must have Susan for myself. You know what I mean? And you're like, who cares, man? But like having him be like a gay stan for Susan is objectively incredible. Yeah, he was really fucking good in that one scene, and it was so weird because in my theater, I literally felt the entire theater was like watching it, and they were like, but when he showed up in that one scene, people like kind of perked up, and they were like, damn, wait, they actually got like a real character in this fucking movie real quick.
Keshawn would say, like, I fucking love that he was in there. Appreciate that he wasn't just a gag, and that he was actually trying to do shit for his people. Yeah, no, literally, like, yeah, they made him a pretty solid character. It's like, oh yeah, like he doesn't like surfers well as much, and actually wants to care about the people of Subterranea, the mole people of Subterranea and all that. I like that a lot, and I want to see more of him. I don't know if I would like to see more of him in the future if they want to bring him back. Please do. I'm a Mole Man. Ro, what do you think of Mole Man?
For me, he felt more like The Incredibles, the Underminer, rather
the
than
Underminer, which is literally what the Underminer is. Like,
But I loved him. I really did. I was like, I missed about maybe the first 10 minutes of the movie. So I come in. Well, I first see him when they go to him for help with Subterranea. So my intro to him is him going like the buttering the bread thing. And they talked to him a little bit before that, but I didn't see the beginning part with him if he's in it. But I really did like his character, and I thought they took it in an interesting way, because I always see Mole Man where he's like decrepit and at least blind. But I liked it. I mean, it fit the universe, and it just kind of reminded me of my main problem that I have with the MCU is where they make everyone just that real world like akin, or that real world adaptation where it's like, I would have just liked a super comic book accurate Mole Man where he's like all gremlin and he has his like little monsters running around. But really, I don't care. I think the actor that portrayed him did a great job, and it landed on its feet, regardless of what we wanted.
Absolutely. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. I just like Mole Man. I just like that we got Mole Man in this movie. Because I told myself that like years ago when we used to cover this back back in college, I always said that like if I wanted to do a Fantastic Four movie, I would want Mole Man to be their first villain. So I'm just happy that we got some Mole Man in here. So which is great. All right, so we'll just move on to the next character then. So obviously one of the antagonists of the film, who had some unnecessary controversy when she was cast, but Shia LaBeouf, aka the Silver Surfer, played by Julian Garner.
This looks like an Ultimate Alliance loading screen.
I saw this concept art. Like, I think I followed the artist that did the concept art that did this piece, and I was like, I couldn't find like a really like cool still image from the movie, so I was like, I'll just grab this instead.
This looks incredible. I'm just saying, this also looks like an Ultimate Alliance loading screen. Like, I love this shit.
It does, but
they used to be throwing art like this in video games just willy nilly, like just throwing you the greatest shot of a hero you've ever seen. Going fuck.
Yeah, right. Bring that shit back. But yeah, I'll say. Actually, I'll let y'all speak first before I say something. But what do y'all think of Julia Garner's performance as a Silver Surfer?
Mikey letting me go first because he hates women. And this is
going to turn out we're not playing. We're not doing this card.
I like Julia Gardner. I like Julia Gardner a lot. I like her as Silver Surfer. I really like her character. I just don't know why it's not Norrin. And it's not like I don't have a problem with her being a girl or anything like that. But like, I don't know why you couldn't just say that she is Norrin Rad of this universe. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why she's Shia LaBeouf. I know it's an Earth X, but like, you know, just because it's in the comics doesn't mean it's comic accurate. Because there's a lot of shit in the comics. You know what I mean? And I think that I appreciate her. I love her as Silver Surfer, but it's just like these little details that I'm like, well, what is the point of changing this in any way? Like, like, why didn't you just make her female Norrin and just be like, yeah, it's Norrin Rad. There you go. Norrin Rad's a fucking hot chick in this universe. Like, I like people. Only like the culture war Republicans would have bitched about it, and then everyone else would have been like, yeah, sick, man. Fucking cool. It's like, she's great, and she basically just plays Norrin. She's playing Norrin the entire movie. And exactly. I'm like, why the fuck did we change her entire character if she was just going to play the same character with a different name?
Yeah, if she was just gender bent Norrin Rad, that still would have been fine, because I thought she did a great job. But I thought in that flashback we were going to see Norrin, like Norrin was like her husband, and like that
I was getting prepared. It would have been hilarious if they cast Doug Jones. I would have fucking died laughing if it was just like tall, skinny ass Doug Jones is Norrin over there, and it would be like, there he is.
Yeah. Hold on, before we say anything, before we continue, yo, Keyshawn had me crying. He said, yo, she really was swag surfing on everything, and I loved it. That's true.
That's so cool. Yeah, dude, the other movies never really got how cool the surfing is, because Norrin really does rip shit, and I'm glad they let Shala rip shit, because it's just like my favorite part of Silver Surfer is that motherfucker's a surfer. That motherfucker surfs on shit.
For sure. When she's in that black hole and she like does the thing where like the wave goes, when she goes inside the wave, but she went inside like the black hole particle, that was fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like she was swag surfing on everything. It was dope. Ro, what you think, bro, about Silver Surfer in this movie?
I got my mic muted. I'm cooking in the background. I enjoyed her presence. I think there was a lot to be desired in the way where it's like what Seamus said, where she's just Norrin Rad. You know, if you're gonna switch the character, you know, whatever. It was just a rug pull. But my favorite part was, you know, her surfing and her like actually getting that humanity to like question Galactus. Mm-hmm. But you know, I think just after seeing those first two Fantastic Four movies and we're this late in the MCU, I definitely wanted a little bit more. Like, I wanted to see her kind of have that contemplation, because for the third arc, I felt like she just disappeared, and then she comes back and makes that like final hit, which was cool. Whatever. This felt like a movie, and y'all kind of said it earlier, where it could have benefited from a few more cuts. It kind of just felt like they were throwing the plot points you'd expect, and I was just like grasping on. I was like, yeah, she would come back, and Silver Surfer fights Galactus in the comics, so whatever. I kind of just wanted more of this Silver Surfer rather than it being like a pastiche, where it's like all the Silver Surfer cues making up this Silver Surfer-esque character, but no real character. You know, I can't really explain it any different.
I gotcha. I mean, that's the thing too. Yeah, it did feel like she just did vanish in the third act and then just came back. Cause I was like, forgot when she left. I loved again, like Johnny was the one to figure out her language and try to tap into her humanity. Yeah. And that's what gets her to change. I like that aspect of that moment for the character, but she just vanishes and she just doesn't come back until the very end, where she does where she pulls a Kobe and then defeats Galactus at the end, like getting him into the black hole, into the portal. But yeah, I mean, which is fine.
She needed a moment where she, like with Doug Jones, where he like phases through the board. And he like looks back at Johnny while they're driving through or flying through traffic. I needed a moment like that where it made the surfboard seem more like metaphysical, or you know, I don't. I wish I knew more about Silver Surfer in the comics, but it was just cool seeing that alien stuff in the older one, and I wanted to see something similar in this new one. But
she does do some phasing and stuff in here, which I mean that's classic Silver Surfer and all that, but. I mean, I wish. I mean, I don't know if we'll see this version of Silver Surfer again, but like, overall, I thought Julia Garner did a really good job, and that's the thing, because like I loved like the Lawrence Fishburne, Doug Jones combo in the second Silver Surfer movie. I thought that Silver Surfer was great, so it was, the bar was high. Yeah. I thought she succeeded with this. I loved their character again. I loved that her coldness, loved her. Like her allegiance to, or like, her subservience to Galactus, and like and getting that backstory, that brief backstory of why she did what her sacrifice. Like I like that a lot. Which again it's the typical notes from Norman Rad Silver Surfer, you know. Which also like we agree with Seamus. Like they could have just done a Jennifer Norman Rad and it would have worked just as well, you know. But yeah, she did a good job. I don't, again, like in the theory section, I would have something for her, but I don't. Like I don't know what her version, if we'll ever see this version of the character again. You know, but if so, that'd be fine, you know. Again, yeah, but yeah, she did a good job, and hopefully, you know, we see more of her in the future. Yeah, anything else before we move on, or are we good on this section?
No, we're good.
Alrighty. All right, so last character we're talking about, the villain, the big honcho of this movie, Galactus, played by Ralph Ineson. And Ro, you missed the section in the non-spoiler section where we talked about how my main thing I love about this movie is that it's a love letter to Jack Kirby, straight up, like from beginning to end is a love letter to Jack Kirby. This was the antithesis of that. This was the shining example. I thought Galactus was perfect in this movie, again, because we're the generation that suffered from having Galactus just being a fart cloud in space. So just to see Galactus... well, Mark Millar's version was just a bunch of robots. So, like, we're still just...
robots who made up what, Mikey? A giant cloud.
A giant fart cloud in space. You're right.
Yeah. And it named what, Mikey?
Galactus. I know. I read the choice.
Ew.
I know.
What?
Dude, I was so pissed when they used the teleporter thing in this from that miniseries. And I was like, fuck you. Fuck you for using the teleporter from Ultimate Marvel. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, yeah. So for people that don't know, again, random tangent, but Galactus in the Ultimate Universe was just a hive of like sentient robots that ate planets. And there was called Galactus. That was Galactus in the Ultimate Universe, and it was bad. So again,
it was so bad they had to have a follow-up event where they just put real Galactus
in the Ultimate Universe.
They were like, fuck, we fucked up so badly.
Oh man, but I digress. I thought Ralph Ineson did a really good job, portrayed him perfectly, the look of Galactus straight out of the page, like Jack Kirby sculpted him. Because I love the fact that, like, just the details with the character, like when you first see him in his throne, like, you know, getting all fed up, you know, with the tubes and all that. I like how they kind of took all the details and the ridges that we've seen, like Jack Kirby put into the character. He looked like a walking city, like the lights that like came off of like his suit looked like city lights. Like I thought it looked incredible. I thought the way his eating machine, the way he feeds, thought was perfect right out of the comics. And yeah, I did like how the main reason why he goes after the four Well, not only because he's gonna eat the world, but like the fact that he realizes, oh wait, they're giving birth to a baby that can literally like replace me from my curse. Yes, give me the baby. That was his motivation to go after Earth in the Fantastic Four. I loved that. I thought that was great. And seeing, and Galactus, when he goes on Earth and him going through the city, because I remember like in the comics, like Galactus, like the way he feeds on planets has been interpreted many different ways. Like, so like for instance, like sometimes he's like bigger than Earth and he's literally like devouring chunks of Earth and shit. Like physically, sometimes he has a machine. So I didn't like the fact they went the classic Jack Kirby role where like he uses a machine to feed, absorbs the core of the planet through like tubes, but like he is like the size, but he's like the size of like a giant, like in actuality, like he's not like as big as a planet or bigger like have we seen other interpretations. So because like he can change size and stuff in the comics too. So like I just like the fact he's really fucking big, but he's not bigger than the planet. He just uses a machine to feed instead. That was great. I love that a lot. In case Sean's saying over here is that Galactus seemed more like a victim than a villain, which I dug, like because again, like Galactus is like his existence, is essentially a curse. Like he doesn't feed because he wants to, he feeds because he needs to. It's instinct, it's the part of who he is. So I really did like that interpretation with that. So yeah, I'll stop talking. What do y'all think of Galactus? Seamus, what's up? What's happening? What you discovered?
Nothing.
Okay. We're getting some breaking news in this bitch. I was like, okay.
No. I mean, breaking news if you care about fighting games, but not really surprising. It was just, I just saw a tweet that said Sonic Fox won their 9th Mortal Kombat tournament in a row at EVO.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
9 years straight. I just saw that and I was like, they earned almost $2 million in earnings for winnings.
If I had an explosion in sound effect, I'd be like, yo, drop a clues bomb for Sonic Fox, bro. Legend.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Yeah,
speaking of Eater of Worlds, Galactus, because he was so. Listen, I've loved Ralph Ineson since The Witch. He was so good in The Witch, and then he was so fucking good in Green Knight. And then when they announced him as Galactus, I was like, we won. We fucking won. Like, even if he is a cloud, even no matter what he is, he's got Ralph Ineson's voice. We won. That he sounds like Galactus. And when they were doing the reveal, like, what was it, a year ago for this movie, and how Galactus looked, and when we saw his big ass fucking face in the Baxter Building window, I was like, we fucking did it. No matter how bad this movie is, Galactus is gonna be cool. And he was so fucking cool in this movie.
Yeah, man, he was great.
He was so good. Oh, and then the design of his ship looks so cool.
Yeah.
My only complaint is I wish the colors on his suit were just a little more vibrant. I just wish they were a little more.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, but I liked how his suit it felt like its own ship. Like it looked like a Star Destroyer. I was like, this looks really fucking intricate and cool, and very much like, something that a giant dude would fucking wear. But yeah, he was so good. I really enjoyed him as the villain. I'm so glad we got like a Coming to Galactus adaptation that was like solid and like actually what the fucking what the story was meant to be.
Yeah, man. Ro, what you think of Galactus?
These kids today are spoiled, man. They didn't have to deal with the cloud back then. Nah, it was really cool. My absolute favorite moment is when they first go to see him and they're like, oh shit, he is this big. Like, he is the whole place. Like, I like when he came to New York and when he gave like the little side eye to the Statue of Liberty. But there's just something about like being on the ship, and I like when the ship looks like it's coming alive, and it's like, oh, how much of this guy are we about to face off with? Like, I think that was really 2001 Space Odyssey stuff. Like, I think this whole movie would have just benefited from them being in space. I don't even really need the Fantastic Four in New York. Battle Galactus on the other side of the galaxy. You had him in. I don't care. I wanted more Galactus.
which is I thought was one again. Like I love how they again. This is the first time we've seen the Fantastic Four in space in live action. So I did love that they did tap into that in this movie. And I would have been fine if this entire thing was in space. To be honest with you, I've been cool.
Right.
But yeah, man. Also, Keishawn was saying is like, yeah, like I like that they kept certain elements from like Guardians of the Galaxy too, with like the humanoid celestial eyes with him. Yeah, 100%. Seeing Galactus peek into the building, to the back building, was amazing. I loved it. And yeah, man, the whole like the whole last act where like they try to get him into the portal. Oh, that was great. Yeah,
I like that he was like smart enough to know their plan. He said, "Oh, okay, I'm not going over there." That was good. That was good.
That was good. That was great. And the thing is, I'm very curious to see, like, again, because like the portal, the teleporter put him in a part of the universe that's like millions and millions of miles away where they won't reach him, and like he doesn't have a ship, so like what's gonna become of Galactus after that now? Like, is he gonna like? Because I don't think he can. Will he die? Will he find a new way to feed? I'm wondering what the story is next with the character, because I feel like we will eventually see him again at some point. Maybe Secret Wars is like the only thing I can think of where like that's the closest, like that's like the one thing that we can see him come through early on, because he comes through in Secret Wars, in the Jonathan Hickman run of Secret Wars. Right. He destroys the Ultimate Universe, for God's sake. I'm very curious to see if he's going to be utilized in Secret Wars in that way in the future. But
he's probably going to be the reason we get a reboot, honestly.
He might, you never know. Like, he could be one of the reasons why the MCU reboots, because like Galactus is like, he's not like, there's only one Galactus. Like he's multiversal, so
literally.
So yeah, they could definitely use him in future stories, in this next phase for sure. But yeah, that's all I gotta say on Galactus. I mean, he's great. It's great. He's like the best part of the movie. He's great. But yeah, that's it for characters. I mean, technically there's one character we're gonna talk about, but that's more theories section. But so yeah, all right, so we'll get into the theory section of the podcast, the fun part. And the thing is, like, with this film, I only have one theory with this, right?
Do you think the Fantastic Four will stop 9/11 when it eventually happens in their universe?
Jesus Christ, Seamus. I did not think that at all. Real quick, let's get. Okay, Sean was saying, like, I feel like if we do see him again, it'll be the Galactus that eats planets like candy, not the destruction worker. The destruction worker. Yeah, no, I feel like that would be the case. I feel like Galactus will have to evolve in a way where he has to learn how to do planets by without the machine, and that could be like him physically eating planets or absorbing them. So that'd be interesting to see. But the only theory I got is obviously pretty much what we saw in the post-credit scene, which was again now we're getting to like my gripe with the movie. Because I love how this movie was very self-contained, and the fact that we got a post-credit scene where Doom shows up and interacts with Franklin Richards, I was like, oh god damn it, we gotta be reminded that RDJ is gonna be Doom, and that's coming next.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with me, where it's like, okay, still interesting, because obviously Franklin, the whole thing with Franklin being born and him, and Galactus being interested in him, and him, Franklin under Reed's testing has no signs of abilities, but then is revealed to have to be very powerful because he revives his mother. He brings Sue back from the dead, and Sue, in her own words, says he's not just have his abilities, he's more than that.
Real quick. Do not like that they made him powerful through the power cosmic and not because he's a mutant. It's very weird that they can make a mutant out of nowhere, but they don't want to make Franklin a mutant. That just seems like Kevin Feige is a dumb fuck.
well, we know that.
To what Rose said, we never know. We don't know. We can only speculate. But
no, they say that in the movie.
I just like them to be confident about their stuff, because it's like, y'all have an X-Men movie coming out within the next 5 years. Just go full force with it.
Yeah, because they say in the movie, they literally say Galactus wants him for his power cosmic he possesses.
If they can say Namor's a mutant, they can say Franklin's a mutant.
That's
what I'm saying. Like, why the fuck don't they just say like, oh, I like have a scene where Reed's like, I checked everything, but I didn't even think to check his genes. Like
MCU,
so
you
hard
were like
for cosmic radiation. I didn't think that it was a genetic thing. You know,
literally.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be cool. And the thing is, like, so here's the thing with my theory with Franklin.
Yeah,
we kind of talked about this when back during Loki season 2 dropped. But how would y'all feel? Because I'm thinking that I think Franklin's gonna take the role of Molecule Man in Doomsday, or for that leads into Secret War.
Ooh.
I feel like he's gonna be the thing that powers Doom use to create Battle World. You know,
I think if they can't find an actor who would be a surprising enough cameo to be Molecule Man, then they'll make it Franklin.
Yeah,
they can find an actor that would be like a surprising cameo as a Molecule Man first appearance. Then yes, I think we'll see Molecule Man. If they can't get an actor or they don't want to pay an actor enough, then they're just gonna cast some dude as Franklin, and they're gonna be like, "Look, it's adult Franklin."
Because the only characters that are at that level of power in the MCU right now is Franklin and Loki. Because Loki's literally holding the multiverse together right now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's either or. But I feel like with this scene, Franklin, interacting with Doom here in the scene, I feel like it makes more sense that like they would go the Franklin route with him as Molecule Man in this movie. Well, Molecule Man-esque.
This scene also would make more sense if it was Valeria.
True.
It was.
And the thing is, right, I was thinking that too when Franklin was born. I was like, I want to see Valeria though, because I love Valeria.
Valeria, where the fuck is my girl?
But
she's getting like sidelined with all the Franklin love lately. I'm like, I'll take it, whatever.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, the only thing I saw her in recently, from what I've been reading, was like in Alien versus Avengers, because she has a role in that comic.
Her and Franklin have been fun in Ryan North's Fantastic Four. It's been he likes to have them be kind of like little fucks, but also smart little fucks. Like they are annoying with like Reed and Sue, where they come up with schemes that normal kids would come up with, but like on a galactic scale, and Reed and Sue are like, oh my god, guys, you are this smart, you guys should also be this smart to know that you cannot be doing this shit. Yeah. And they're like, no, don't worry guys, we'll clean it up, like we know how to clean it up. And Reed and Sue are like, we know you know how to clean it up, but it's the fact you did it in the first place. And I'm like, I love that dynamic, and I wish Valeria was in this, so we got a little more of that, but whatever.
They could pop up another kid in the next like 5 years, But also just to rewind the tape, Valeria got plenty of love in that Doom one shot that Sanford Green did and Hickman did last year. Like she was great.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, man, I think this is the route with Franklin being introduced. I think that's what that's like the most likely thing I could think of that they would go up with his character. And also on another note, that Doom mask looks like trash. Looks like it came out straight out of Party City. I don't like it. I honestly thought I was telling my coworker Cody because I was telling him about Infamous Iron Man. I thought they were gonna go like, if you're gonna have RDJ be a Victor Von Doom either variant or whatever, just have him be in the freaking Infamous Iron Man outfit where it's like a Doom Iron Man crossover suit. Like do that. Like.
Or you could shoot me dead on the highway instead.
Yeah. Or you could just fucking hang me now.
Like, I think that would put us right back in 2005 Boxers for all.
I'd rather you literally cut my balls off.
Yeah, like, yo, I can't. The fact that Dr. Doom has like no good way out in any of these interpretations, I'm just like, I'm so underwhelmed. Underwhelmed. Man, that was like my biggest thing at the end of it,
Mm-hmm. Like, because my biggest gripes with the movie, which I said in the beginning, was that the first act felt too quick, and that it felt like a lot of stuff was cut out, and that there wasn't enough time to breathe. And then this end part with this mid-credit scene was like a reminder that like this movie is a part of the MCU, and that Doom and RDJ Doom is happening next, which I've been very like about ever since he was cast last year. So it's whatever. It is what it is. Like, it's happening regardless. We gotta just rip the
It's
band
happening.
out. Know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I gotta say in terms of theories. Anything else? Anything else wants to like bring up any theories that they got at all, or no? Because I couldn't think of anything after besides this.
I think RDJ Doom's gonna blow. It's just it's hard to have any theories when Secret Wars and Doomsday are like right there, and you kind of already know how those are gonna go down, and then you don't really know if you're ever gonna see any of these characters after that again. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I think announcing a reboot right after this movie came out kind of killed the momentum. I'm like, I've been saying that they should have added a new Black Panther in this movie and just took us for a ride. Like, I don't like kind of how Superman was, where we're just throwing characters left and right and you're supposed to know who they are. They could have did that with Black Panther. I'm like,
I mean,
just give us a whole new universe to actually have fun in.
It was kind of inevitable.
Like
it was kind of inevitable. Like, when they announced Secret Wars, we all knew. Like, if you read comics, you'll know they're gonna reboot after this. And doing that, like, the mess that they've gotten themselves into, like, post Endgame, they were gonna have to reboot after. Like, there was no way.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yep.
But and it's funny too, because like when going into this movie, I thought that the movie was gonna end with Galactus winning, the world being destroyed, and that's how they get into the main universe. Because in Thunderbolts, we saw the ship coming in there and that mid-credit scene. So that's what I thought was gonna happen. But the fact that their universe survived, I was like, so how the fuck do they get into the main universe then? I'm confused. You know,
They get in the main universe like they always do, where Reed's like, I have a new invention that takes us to another universe because my systems have detected many universes are ending at once, and we must go speak to this other neighboring universe about what's going on. You know,
like it was like literally like right when Galactus got sent through that portal, I was like, okay, an incursion's about to happen. Like, explain how they're gonna get into the main universe. But no.
Yeah, I was waiting on that planet to blow up, honestly. But I'm glad it didn't.
I'm glad because I'm glad we didn't get that, because we're already bitching about the MCU-ified mid-credit scene. So I think any more of that, we would have been bitching a little harder about it, reminding us that it's going to be integral to a terrible movie that comes out in a year.
Mm-hmm. And Kayshawn agrees. Like, he thought that's exactly how he wanted to end too. Listen, Kayshawn, two minds think alike.
I think that'd be stupid. Because imagine you introduce this new team to your new universe, and in the very first fucking movie they lose and they have to run away, and then that's how the movie just fucking ends. That'd be terrible. People wouldn't like that. And then you're also connecting it to the wider MCU, which people as a whole are already mad about and tired of. Like, that's just a one-way ticket to killing your movie. Because then people are instantly just going to be like, well, I don't care at all. They lost, and now they're in the shitty universe that I already hate.
Listen, after going off of that Zebra Thunderbolts, that's just how I assumed it was going to end. So, like, you know,
for real.
Like, I'm
Thought I was
just
Kevin
going
Feige.
But before we move on to the final thoughts, final verdict, what do y'all think of that cartoon at the end of at the end?
I love that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
It was really
that
good.
was a great after credit scene. That's how after credit scene should be, I think.
Yeah,
it made me warm up to Mustache Reed too. Like, this whole movie has, but I wasn't sold until the cartoon came out.
Honestly, they really had, they really did. But yeah, I thought that was a really nice, fun thing to add at the end. But yeah, all right. So guys. So final thoughts, final verdict. What do y'all think? Fantastic Four first steps, and what would y'all give it out of 10?
I'd give it 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Ro, would you give it?
Yeah, I'll do 6, just so we don't have 2 7s.
Okay. All right, man. Again, I like the movie. Thought I had a good time with it. Again, there are issues with it that bother me with it. Especially that, again, reminded that it's. Again, I loved how self-contained it was until we got that scene at the end. I was like, God damn it! And also, I want to see a director's cut of this. Like, I want to see like what scenes Matt Fraction had to remove that he wanted to add into his version. Because I feel like there was a lot of setup and stuff that like we could have gotten that like really would have helped that first act and maybe that second act too. So I really hope we see like a director's cut of something. But Marvel doesn't really do director's cuts or extended cuts, so I don't think that will happen. But we'll see. But the cast was great. Matt Shakman did a good job did a good job. The script was good. Oh yeah, shout out to Michael Giacchino. for the score. The score is incredible in this movie.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Who would have guessed a Michael Giacchino score fucking rich?
I know.
Man.
I know.
Dude, he's been wanting to do this score since The Incredibles. The Incredibles was just, what if I did a Fantastic Four score? And then like 20 years later, they're like, all right, man, you get to do it.
And just like what Kayshawn just said, I would also give it a 7. I would give it a 7 out of 10.
It's good. It's good. It just, I came out of Superman like almost crying. And then I came out of this movie almost crying for a different reason.
Yeah.
For real. For real.
Yeah.
Like Superman felt like I was crying because I was witnessing the birth of my child, and then Fantastic Four, it made me feel like I was crying because I just watched my mom slowly pass, and I was like, that was beautiful.
Okay, Peter
that was
Quill.
a beautiful moment I got to witness, but it is all pain from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with me. It's just like, if Chris was like, that's crazy, but for real.
That's how it felt.
But also there was someone, Chris know who I'm talking about. And you know them too, Seamus. But someone who I'm friends with, who I watched Superman with, he thought that this movie was better than Superman, and I was like,
And Superman means more.
Fan.
Yeah, and they didn't like Superman. This is the person that didn't like Superman, Seamus, that I told you about.
Like I said, average Man of Steel fan. They just don't know what the fuck a good movie is, even when it hits them in the face.
But yeah, man. I think more of the story is I want to see more of these characters, and then we're gonna see more of these characters. Chris knows exactly who I'm talking about. Yes. So, but yeah, it was But yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I want to see more of these characters in the future, for sure. And yeah. I had something to say, but I lost my train of thought. So we're just gonna move on and close it out. All right, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks to everyone who are watching this or will watch this. Appreciate the support. Please comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you think of this movie. If you like it, do you not like it? Was it worth the wait? Was it worth suffering, Galactus Spark Cloud? What are your thoughts on the movie? Leave in the comments down below. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when we drop new content. Seamus, Ro, thanks again for joining me. As always, lovely to have you both in this conversation. Good time.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, bro. Anytime. And listen, and I want just quick plugs, just some quick plugs. If you haven't checked out, let's see, what do we got? If you haven't checked out our San Diego Comic-Con coverage, please check that out. It was a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of comic book stuff and video game stuff and TV stuff, and it was a good time. Check out our Superman review. If you haven't checked out our Superman review, also a good time. Our Ironheart review. Check out our interview, the latest interview we've done with my boy Greg Anderson, Alize, for his book Hammer. That was a good time as well. And check out the reactions. Check out the Deadly Clash. Check out Transformers. Check out the clips. Check out. We have a ton of content for y'all to enjoy and consume, and all the love that we've been getting, the past, few years has been worth the wait. And again, I've been getting a lot of praise from some of my homies that I've checked out the channel and checked out the content. So it means a lot, and we're gonna keep it going for y'all. But real quick, I want to make an announcement. Seamus already knows because I had to give him thumbnail advice. I needed thumbnail input, we are going to be doing our back into doing long form book breakdowns. Because the last one we did was Deadly Class that ended late last year. We were going to do Die by Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans, but unfortunately it hasn't been really working out. So I postponed that for now. But the book that we are replacing that with is a book I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. And yeah, so the book we're going to be doing is anyone want to give me a drum roll right quick? Just a little drum roll right quick. I bet. The book we're going to be doing on the Indie Corner is going to be none other than Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra from 2003 from Vertigo. Yeah, I love this book. This is one of my favorite comics of all time. I haven't it's one of my favorite comics. I haven't finished. I only read halfway through. So but I love it. But I love the book. Love the concept. I feel like hasn't been talked about in a while, and so yeah, we're gonna be doing that sometime this month. So be on the lookout for that. Ro, have you read? I know Seamus has. Right? Ro, have you read Why the Last Man at all, or no?
I remember when it was coming out. Didn't they make a show for it?
They did, and they canceled it after one season because they're haters.
Yeah, that was like the most exposure I had to it way back then. But after, I did want to read it. I remember. Is it Jay Lee who does the cover?
I don't know. J.G.
art
Jones.
release?
J.G. Jones. J.G. Jones does the
Okay,
cover.
there we go.
And Pia Guerra does the interior artwork.
I love
yeah.
the Commandi challenge, so it was just giving me those vibes. It looks good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
But and yeah, the thing is, there are bonus episodes planned where we'll talk about the show and all that. So but yeah, man. So be on the lookout for Why the Last Man. It will come out. We'll be starting it sometime this month. But yeah, people, as always, we love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Get home safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Peace.
Awesome stuff.